All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. And I'm excited today to continue on with day 4 of our 5-day series on building authority and creating a true authority marketing engine for your business. So if you remember on day 1, we talked about the power of authority and how that creates a true long-term benefit for your business for growth and attracts opportunities. And in day 2, we broke down a formula, one that we've kind of developed over time of strategy and authority and technology and distribution. And yesterday, I talked to you a little bit about the importance of creating that legacy content. And the reason for this is because I know that if you create legacy content, you're going to have an asset that'll continue to pay off for you over and over again. So today, what are we going to do? I'm going to get down to get a little bit in the weeds for you. So I hope you have a pen and a piece of paper. My goal here is not necessarily to give you the entire breakdown of everything, but what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the process we use to truly become omnipresent in the marketplace. So look, content creation can feel like a full-time job, but it really doesn't have to be. I was talking to a business owner the other night at one of our local Chamber of Commerce events, and he was talking about how he's creating blogs and he's using CapCut to do social media posts and spending hours, by the way, because if we try to do our own editing, you know what it's like. We spend all day because we're so particular. But most of the most successful brands I know don't work hard on content. They automate it. See, there's this thing I like to call the burnout trap. Too many entrepreneurs are burning out because they know and they hear that they need to post. And so they're posting every day, they're writing emails, they're recording podcasts, they're trying to be on every platform. But here's the thing. When you become strategic and you have a blueprint, you realize that authority scales when it's powered by systems and automation. It's super important that you do not spend all your valuable time and energy and talent on doing the tedious things, even though you know that it's one of the most important things you can do. So it's so important here for you to remind yourself that it's the core knowledge and content that's important. The process needs to be automated. So I like to call this the authority engine. And what I mean by that is there's a content engine that we use at our company. And this authority content engine will take a core piece of valuable content that you do. And let me just remind you that when this is in the vein of interest that you have, that you're passionate about and you're good, you're excellent at, you can talk about it for hours. You lose track of time. You love doing it. If all you did was create that and then automate the rest, your business would start to grow dramatically. So an authority engine involves several steps. On one hand, we had the formula. The formula is what you do and how you do it to create authority. The process, the content process, is how you produce and distribute that content. And it starts with creating that valuable piece of high value content. This is like a podcast interview or a podcast episode, or it's just talking about a core topic that you think is valuable on video. Usually I say video. And then what you do is you break it down, you optimize and repurpose that content, and you distribute, market, and promote it. That's the process. And we do this every single day at the Authority Media Network, which is my marketing company. We'll take one podcast episode, and ideally it would be a strategic topic. It would be something that maybe it's an interview with an ideal client. Maybe it's a fulfillment piece. It's recognition of a partner, but it's an ideal piece of content that then gets repurposed into hundreds of pieces of content across multiple platforms, which gets you seen by thousands and in some cases, millions of people. And when it's strategic content, it will also create value. It'll contact, capture, and convert leads. So let me talk to you about how that happens, because it's important that you use the right tools. You need to automate it through email sequences, podcast syndication, blog publishing, and even social media scheduling. And I know that sounds a little bit overwhelming, but I think as an owner, a founder, a CEO, it's important that you understand the process. So I'm going to do this for you today. I'm going to walk you through this process. Don't worry about taking notes. I'm going to put these notes in the show notes, and we've got plenty of resources at thedailymastermind.com. But I want to walk you through the process, because one of the things that's helped me a lot over time is when I understand what the process is and draw the line to not do the process, that's when things will start to happen for you. But it's so much more effective and productive when you know the reason behind the process. So I'm going to walk you through from start to finish how we take one piece of content and turn it into millions of views. And I want you to just kind of listen to the overall strategy behind it. And then as you want to get your team or yourself involved, you can always reach out. We can get you all the down and dirty detail. Okay. So let me go ahead and walk you through this process. I've done 1,200 episodes now, right? And when I look back on it, I would have done things a little bit differently. What I've done is podcast and then optimize and distribute. What I would have done is been far more strategic in the type of podcast topics. So you may think you know the topic for your audience, but it's not about that. It's about what's being searched. What are people looking for? What are the questions they're looking for? So the very first step in the process is to research and create this content outline, this strategy. I like to do mine, 12 weeks at a time over a quarter. And you can use tools like Search Atlas. You can use tools like SEMrush or, Google Keyword. But there's a lot of different things. Let's not get in the details there. But when you create a strategic content outline through research and keywords and great titles, you can then take that content and you can go to the step of recording a video. Now, I like to use Descript. Descript is a recording software that is very inexpensive. You can drag your video in there and it cuts it up and it automatically puts it into an audio, video, and fully transcribed version that you can do things with. So we record a lot of times in Descript, or I'll take my Zoom interviews and I will pull them into Descript. What happens is in that software, and there's plenty of softwares out there, you can then edit the transcript, the blog, the audio, and the video. So once you have the research and you get a good content outline and you record your content on Zoom or Squadcast or Descript or whatever it is, then you can have it produced. And the key is to start by editing the audio. And so we like to really make sure the audio is cleaned up and optimized. Then we edit the YouTube video with metadata and titles and description and put the bumpers on the front and the back so that you got little video overlays. This is where your production team can add B-roll or lower third type things or put the captions on there. And so you go from the audio to the video, and then you can go to the blog. Now, it's important to understand a lot of people will take their content and make a blog article. Google really recognizes and likes that natural word. So we take the full length transcript and we edit it for grammar. We put in H1 and H2 headers, which means we put in titles for sections, stuff that makes it easy for people and for Google to read. And then we create this long form blog. And there's all kinds of optimization things you can do for the blog to put on your website, like links between links to other authorities, backlinks to that article and things like that. But if you follow me here, you're going to optimize the audio and put it into a podcast syndication. You're going to optimize the video, put it into YouTube, optimize the transcript for a blog. And then with our company, we also repurpose that into an article that goes into one of our magazines so that we can get PR and recognition. So now you have your audio, video, written word, and article third party. And all of that production can then be taken to the next step, which is where we add tech. We like to put QR codes in so we can track who's viewing it and watching it. And we like to push that into our SMS campaigns, our newsletters. I'm a big fan of Beehive. A lot of big newsletters are done there because it's a great platform that can also integrate into your CRM. And so once you have all of the production, you'll then distribute and communicate that through your SMS, your email campaigns, like your newsletter. And then you can go to the step of repurposing that and taking that original video and carving up social media reels and clips and different things you can put onto social media. And so now if you go back to what I said before and you've got a very strategic outline, like if I was to do a particular podcast episode and I had 5 core sections to talk about, each of those had 2 or 3 bullets, it makes it really easy to clip out those social media reels based on topics that are searchable. Once you've done that and you can repurpose your content, you can then go into the marketing and promotion end. So let's go back through and follow it through here. You did one video, you turned it into audio, video, written word, and articles. You added some technology, repurposed it into your social media channels because those reels can get posted on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, X, and TikTok, even Pinterest. And then you're going to then distribute it through marketing, the exact same stuff. We take audio clips and promote. We take some of the best performing Facebook ads and turn them into ads, or Facebook posts and turn them into ads. And then you can go back and SEO optimize things. But then you're left with this powerful amount of content, and you can go out and promote. And there's ways that you can guest on other podcasts. There's ways that you can speak at events. In fact, we have a guide that talks about 50 different ways you can use your content to grow your authority. And if you go to dailymastermind.com, you can get that free download. It's actually a full masterclass, but it's just a free PDF that we include. But I want to kind of wrap this up for you by saying this. If you're going to do anything, you may as well do it right. And so many of you are working so hard instead of so smart by creating systems. So we have a production engine that we do with this. There's a lot of ways you can use tools and AI and things to automate the piece, because it's not about the content creation and distribution. It's about spending your time on the valuable piece of content, letting the rest get automated, and then spending most of your time on promotion, marketing, and engaging your audience. So I know this has been a lot of information, but I know that some of you have said, George, give me the detail. And so here's the detail. So we talked about authority. We talked about the formula and why it's so effective. We talked about legacy content, which I hit again today. And then I just walked you through the process. And so I hope this is something that's starting to open your eyes to just the value of what you can do, and how you can not only multiply your efforts, but reduce the time you're spending doing it, so that you can do what you love and what you're great at. And so that's the message for today. Tomorrow, what I'm going to do is kind of wrap it all up for you and help you to kind of create a blueprint that you can move forward with. But I hope you'll do me a favor and just hit me up if you have any questions. Go to the Daily Mastermind on Instagram, Facebook. You can go to dailymastermind.com, check my personal info in the show notes. But let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you have questions. What's holding you up? What are you struggling with? I know there's so many more detailed conversations, like maybe it's your mindset, maybe it's what you're worried about or thinking about that is keeping you from being productive and successful. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say it again. I've said it a million times. It's never too late to start creating the life and the business that you are meant to live, that you should have, but you've got to take action. And if that action is simply doing one single video, then that's going to move you closer to your goals. So that's my message for today. I hope you're having a great week, and I hope you have a great day. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. And this has been the Daily Mastermind. I'll talk with you soon.